Witness takes the stand in a Lexington murder trial. What he told the jury about a man's murder.
Over the world are in Louisville, Kentucky to say goodbye to Muhammad Ali. I'm Kenneth Craig in Louisville with some of their stories coming up.
This is WKYT News at 4:30.
Good afternoon. Well, it was a matter of time. Get ready for the return of summer weather.
That's right. After a string of September-like temperatures, the heat and humidity will be sneaking back in. WKYT meteorologist Jim Caldwell is here with your end of the week forecast.
Yeah, we are talking about a lot of heat and humidity coming your way over the next few days. Now, again, it's been pleasant out there throughout the past few days here. Yesterday, I was out playing a little golf, and it was fantastic during the evening hours. I mean, once I finished, though, the sun was down, got a little cool out there. And we'll likely get cool again this evening and through the overnight as well, with temperatures probably in the upper 50s, low 60s, as you're looking at all those 70s and low 80s hanging out with us right now, with humidity into an area that's not out of control, which means we're in pretty decent shape. Here's what we've got with our Defender Radar Network. It's quiet across most of Kentucky. Hard to find any clouds out there. We advance, and you see that no showers are showing up today. But tomorrow, it's a very different story. We will have a very small chance of some showers probably drifting into this general zone here, about a good 20 to 40% chance. The deeper you get, I think, into parts of northeastern and eastern Kentucky, the chances will be close to 40. Now, again, these chances are not off the charts, but we will be running into that rain. Rain and then heat and humidity kick it in full gear as we go into the weekend. That's when we talk about widespread 90s. And I will take a closer look at that and track the 90s into our area hour by hour coming up in just a few minutes.
He admitted he played a role in a Lexington murder, and today he took the stand to testify against the other person charged in this case.
Timothy Ballard talked about the night Alex Johnson was beaten to death in December of 2013. Mark Taylor is on trial for the murder of Johnson. Our Caitlin Sitner shows us what Ballard told the jury in our top story at 4:30.
The entire morning was spent with one prosecution witness on the stand, and that was Timothy Ballard. Ballard says he heard Alex Johnson's last breath, and the defense noted inconsistencies in his story. Ballard took the stand at the start of the day and didn't leave until court recessed for lunch. He told the court he drove Mark Taylor to Alex Johnson's in a Mercedes, and that on the way, Taylor said he wanted to kill Johnson. Ballard went on to say there was a fight between Taylor and Johnson in the car, that Taylor drove at one point, and he heard Johnson's last breath while Johnson was in the back seat. He testified it was him who drove the barrel with Johnson's body in it to the Kentucky River and allowed it to roll out of the tailgate of the truck.
And what's Alex Johnson's condition at this point?
At this point in time?
Yes.
He's still alive.
And how do you know that?
Because I heard him take his last breath when I drove away.
Do you believe he died in the car?
I believe so.
What was it that you heard that made you think that?
He gurgled, and then, and that was it.
The afternoon has been filled with various witnesses. Two of those are police from Pharr, Texas, where Taylor was arrested. Others are local law enforcement talking about the day the barrel was recovered from the Kentucky River. In Lexington, Caitlin Sitner, WKYT.
And the trial has wrapped up for the day. It will resume on Monday.
The first of two large memorials to boxing legend Muhammad Ali took place this morning. Thousands of people gathering for an Islamic prayer service honoring Ali at the Kentucky Expo Center. Kenneth Craig's in Louisville with more on today's tribute.
Pallbearers escorted Muhammad Ali's casket into Freedom Hall for a Muslim prayer service. His family sat in a viewing area while thousands strained to see as prayers and tributes were offered.
Ali did more to normalize Islam in this country than perhaps any other Muslim in the history of the United States.
Samaya Naveed came with her entire family to be part of the event.
I really wanted to see him when he was alive. I couldn't do that, so I wanted to come here and pay my respects.
Ibrahim Abulhala traveled here from Jerusalem to pay his respects.
He did a lot in his life to give love.
Today's service wasn't just for Muslims. It was open to people from all faiths and all walks of life, just as Ali wanted.
The whole atmosphere was peace, and it was love, and it was unity.
More tributes are planned for Friday in Louisville. Thousands will line the streets for a 19-mile procession to the Cave Hill Cemetery where Ali will be buried. A public memorial service follows, a final farewell for a man admired by millions around the world. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, Louisville, Kentucky.
And tomorrow, former President Bill Clinton and comedian Billy Crystal will be among the speakers. We will be streaming Ali's memorial service from the KFC Yum Center tomorrow afternoon on WKYT.com, and we're planning to carry it live right here on WKYT. That's beginning at 2 o'clock.
They appear to be harmless, but state police say someone rigged trail cameras in Harlan County to make them very unsafe.
Caleb Noe shows us the danger in a story that's new at 4:30.
Police say they found 3 game cameras similar to this in separate parts of Harlan County filled with explosives.
Why? Well, that's the main question at this point. Retail managers in southeastern Kentucky tell us it is common for game cameras to be stolen, oftentimes with the intent of resale at pawn shops or flea markets. Police say theft deterrent is not out of the question at this point as far as a motive is concerned.
Someone that's actually stealing cameras out here, someone has put these explosive devices in this camera, or could it be a possible marijuana patch?
One thing police are concerned with is the inherent safety risk involved. They say these explosives are strong enough to cause serious injury. They tell us if they find out who is attaching the explosive devices on the cameras, charges will be filed.
Now, if there's only one thing you take from this story, remember, if you see one of these, do not touch it. In Harlan County, Caleb Noe, WKYT.
If you know anything about the cameras, you're asked to give State Police Post number 10 a call.
A grand jury has indicted a shooting suspect on an attempted murder charge. Police say Benjamin Anderson shot Josh Dooley during an argument on Powell Street in Danville on April 20th. Dooley survived but had to undergo multiple surgeries at UK Hospital and will likely be left with a permanent injury. The Advocate Messenger reports Anderson is also charged with 5 counts of wanton endangerment and evidence tampering. A woman says she woke up to find 2 strangers inside her Lexington home. She says one of the men stole her cell phone, so she went to the Walgreens near her Fairmont Court home to call police. They're investigating her claims. She says both men were wearing hoodies and took off running when she woke up.
It's expected to take about $20 million to make repairs at a chemical weapons destruction plant in Madison County. Bechtel Parsons Bluegrass, the general contractor for the plant, wants General Atomics of San Diego to pay the cost. They say a subcontractor for the company did the piping that now has deficient welds. The plant was built to destroy chemical weapons stored at the Bluegrass Army Depot near Richmond. The facility is expected to begin operations in 2020. You've probably seen them. They zip around cars and look like a lot of fun to ride, especially this time of year with the weather warming up. Mopeds or scooters are a cheap and easy way to get around town. But you might be surprised to learn what you don't need if you want to legally ride a moped. We dropped by a moped shop near the UK campus to learn what it takes to ride one safely and avoid accidents with much heavier, faster cars.
I don't ever want to lose a customer. I really don't ever want to see a customer hurt. That's why I spend the time to talk about safety and talk about the rules of the road to make them more aware of what's out there.
We wondered, how do the number of crashes with mopeds compare to cars and trucks in Fayette County? Tonight at 6, what you're required to have with a moped and why it's important to stay focused from the ground up.
If you're in search of a car instead of a moped, Kentucky State Police will be auctioning off more than 200. The auction begins at 9 a.m. tomorrow at 94 Airport Road in Frankfort. 130 of the cars are running, 90 of them are non-running. There will also be some miscellaneous items, including 2 modular buildings. You can start viewing the items up for auction at 8 a.m. Tonight, you can enjoy great weather and a free movie. Douglas Park in Lexington just celebrated its 100th anniversary. To celebrate, the park's Centennial Commission is hosting free family movie nights throughout the summer. The first one of the year is tonight at 8 o'clock. Tonight's feature, Alvin and the Chipmunks Road Trip.
A park along the Kentucky and Virginia border is officially open now for rock climbing. Tourism officials say the addition of rock climbing at Breaks Interstate Park will strengthen the park's draw as a destination for adventure tourism. Other recreational activities at the park include world-class paddling in the Russell Fork River. A massive wildfire has forced hundreds of people out of their homes in Arizona. The fire is burning near the town of Yarnell. More than 600 acres have already burned. 300 people evacuated the area yesterday. 200 firefighters are working this fire, and right now it's only about 10% contained. Yarnell is the same town where 19 firefighters died in a 2013 wildfire. So imagine sailing around the world without the use of modern navigational equipment in a canoe. That's exactly what a crew from Hawaii is trying to do. Can you imagine that?
No,
I can't.
I can't get anywhere without my GPS, so no. Craig Boswell caught up with the team during a stop in Washington.
Aloha. We boarded the Hokulea when it arrived in Washington, D.C. It's a replica of a traditional double-hulled Hawaiian voyaging canoe.
Hold right there, hold.
The crew is navigating it around the world without modern instruments. No GPS, no compass. What in nature do you look at?
Right. Heavens, atmosphere, oceans.
Nainoa Thompson is leading the tour. He uses Polynesian wayfinding, an ancient skill of memorizing the position of hundreds of stars to find their way.
This is a revival as well as a reconnection.
Revival, reconnection, some say renaissance.
The canoe will stop at more than 100 ports, and its crew spreads the word about living sustainably and caring for the ocean at every stop.
If we don't do a better job of stewarding the world's oceans, in 100 years from now, you ain't gonna be able to take in as much oxygen. If I cannot breathe, I cannot survive.
They've already sailed more than 26,000 miles in 3 years and still have a year to go. The crew rotates monthly.
So every crew member is expected to be able to do everything on board.
Noelani Kamalu is a math and science teacher when she's not sailing. She and her sister Lahua have made much of the journey since it started, and they'll help sail the Hokulea home to Hawaii next June. Craig Boswell, CBS News, Washington.
The Hokulea was built in 1976 and traveled from Hawaii to Tahiti. It sparked a revival of Hawaiian culture and has become a symbol of hope for Native Hawaiians.
It is one of country music's biggest events.
That's right. CMA Fest is underway today in Nashville. WKYT's own music girl, Deanne Stevens, is out and about with more on all the fun. Hey, Deanne.
Hey guys, we are here in Nashville CMA Fest 2016 and the sun is shining bright here, especially on these guys. Brothers Osborne, John and TJ with us. Fun time always. You guys just took the stage, Riverfront Stage. How awesome is it to play? Because we've known each other for a few years.
Yeah.
You didn't always get to play Riverfront Stage.
Absolutely not. You know, this is our 5th year playing the CMAs. We started on the little Hard Rock stage over here, went to the Bud Light stage, and this is our first year getting to play the big Riverfront stage. So it's been a cool little CMA progression.
It's so neat to see the artists when they first start out. Do you guys have advice for those guys that are over there playing that Budweiser stage right now, and just to continue to pound the pavement and live their dream?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just work really hard and be nice to people, and 99% of the time things will work out. And if they're not working out, work even harder. And it takes a lot of work to get here, and then to get to the Ascend Amphitheater, and then eventually to Nissan Stadium. It's you know, you have to do it clawing your way to the top. So just work hard and be nice to people. And then hopefully after that, you'll be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. I'll say the Bud Light stage though, and he knows this. It used to be like, okay, the Bud Light stage, but now it's like they got huge video walls up. I mean, it's like way cooler to play now than what we did.
So I shouldn't be acting like it's less.
Actually really, really awesome to play over there.
Here's what I have to say. I think it's pretty awesome for any artist at this point to be playing anywhere here in Nashville. For folks at home watching, it's a hop, skip, and a jump. People are like, I don't have tickets. You don't need a ticket for CMA Fest, right? Come and enjoy it.
Well, this is all about the fans. This whole thing is all about the fans, you know. We travel all over the country to get to you guys. Now they're all coming here to us, and it's awesome. So we're going to make it a party, and it's just a big party, a big family reunion for everybody.
Tell them to come on out and be a part of the party.
Yeah. Where y'all at? Should be here. Be a part of the party. Come on.
The guys from Brothers Osborne with us today for CMA Fest. I'm Deanne Stevens, out and about. Back to you guys.
Do you get the idea she has a good time?
She has too much fun. It's just not fair.
I mean, that is just her. That is Deanne. She has a good time there. Legendary country music star Dolly Parton is selling photos of her vow renewal ceremony.
Parton married Carl Dean back in 1966. They renewed their vows in a private ceremony in Nashville last month to mark their 50th anniversary. Dean has agreed to a sit-down interview as well. Parton plans to donate proceeds from the sale of the pictures and interview to children's charities.
Sony will re-release the 2001 movie Ali this weekend. The movie can be seen in several hundred cinemas nationwide. The film highlights Ali's accomplishments inside and outside the ring. Sony says the re-release is designed to give fans one more way to say goodbye to the greatest of all time. A lot of us are acting like this is the last of the good weather.
I know.
It has been great weather, but, I mean, you know, it is summer, and eventually we have to get to the 80s and 90s.
That's right. Some people like it, you know. It's not that bad. Let's head to Jim Caldwell for an update on those hot temperatures.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I would rather it be like it was yesterday. But you're right. We know it's coming back, and it's going to really make us pay for enjoying the past few days. Even out there right now, we're in the upper 70s and low 80s. This is a pretty comfortable feel with lower humidity levels showing up. Hard to find any cloud cover on that map as well, and you certainly won't find any precipitation, at least in Kentucky. Not yet. There might be a small chance it rolls at us as we get into your Friday. Hour by hour through the evening and into the nighttime, you can see the 70s still hanging around here. Probably even some upper 50s, low 60s to start things off for us early on your Friday morning. Then we get into the afternoon and evening hours, and temperatures are going to be pushing into the mid and upper 80s for us tomorrow. So a little bit of change as we heat things up around here. Now, let's get you up to date on the traffic situation out there.
We have a non-injury collision on the outer loop of Manowar just past Tate's Creek Road. Just two cars involved. There shouldn't be a big deal getting past that one at the moment. On the north side, we've cleared the stalled car, North Broadway in the circle, and that leaves us in decent shape right now on North Broadway. Drive times to Nicholasville, 12 to 14 minutes, and it looks like the Versailles, the straight shot across the county line. Now back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Don. It's a traffic stop one woman won't soon forget.
It's the video that will have you talking. Take a look and a listen at this. I think we all heard that. An Army staff sergeant arranged to have police pull his mother over in order to surprise her with the news he is home from Iraq. Officers took her license during the stop and had her son bring it back to her after finding an excuse to get her out of the car.
I'm going to kill him. He just got me. I'm glad to see him, though.
It was a great experiment just to see her reaction and her happiness and joy and tears.
We can understand why she was screaming so loudly.
Yes.
Robinson will be home for 2 weeks before returning to Iraq for a year.
Now, check out this silo grabbing attention in eastern Indiana. The owners turned it into a 25-foot-tall minion. They painted the silo and welded together 6-foot eyes. People have been driving to the farm from all over to get a peek. Neighbors say it's a lot of fun and has made the area a little more interesting.
My wife, Noelle, loves minions. She would drive hundreds of miles.
You know what you're doing this weekend.
Yeah, we'd be taking pictures right next to it. It's a cuddly intruder caught on video. A young boy in Louisiana was caught on a homeowner's security camera running up to sneak a hug of their dog. Aww. The owner posted the adorable video on Facebook trying to figure out who the child was. Well, it turns out it's their neighbor's son, whose own dog died last year. The young boy now has the owner's permission to stop by for puppy love anytime he wants. Good. I'm glad that they're good neighbors and they're letting them do that. You know,
I'm an animal lover too. I don't even ask for permission. I just
they're like family
go
members.
in. That's right.
All right. Much more to come. Stay with us now on WKYT at 5 o'clock.